It's May 6th. Critical condition. It's now about 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. All day my jaw's completely wired shut. It's apparent today how much they've actually pulled out into an institutional self. They've pulled out that much an institutional self, or that much power into an institutional self. It's behind my eyes. My jaw's completely wired shut. They snagged the power of my own life behind this. It's one of the worst, I'd say it's one of the worst cases in country, but I've said it could be the worst case in country for internalising somebody's life, because they haven't got anybody with clean bloodlines. They haven't done it to anybody with clean genetics. I've been in jail, went and had a look. There's not many people in there other than the staff that's got clean professional genetics, and I saw a lot of people institutionalised, and a lot of people have been overwhelmed by the system internally. What I mean by that is they just carried on using modification of self in an institutional self and carried on internalising it until they haven't got any power over their own life. They're in a robotic controlled state. I've seen a few of them. It's illegal to do, but they're getting away with it. They're making the claim it's a rights crime and solicitors issue. It's a crime against humanity. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. They're arresting people like me for anything: joint enterprise to street robbery, criminal damage, and improper use of communications. They're the things I've been convicted of. I could do all those 3 crimes times 50 for the crimes that they've committed against me. Just me, and they're committing it against a lot of people. So realistically, it's a crime against humanity. They're taking possession of human beings and just stripping the self out until they're in a brain controlled state, to use them in a controlled state like the army, controlling me into homosexual role plays, controlling me to high risk sexual degrading, sexual humiliation, sexual degrading, humiliation, the highest extent. Any one of these crimes that they've used me in a controlled state to commit crime against, they've controlled me in some of the most sadistic, inhumane sexual humiliation you could ever imagine. Apparently they've been told they're allowed to squash their own anxieties and their own deficits in people's institutional selves, so they're controlling them into sex crime. But then if I went out and committed that in society, or somebody commits that in society, it'd be imprisoned. And this is the issue with it. They feel as though they're entitled to do what they want. They feel as though they're entitled to do whatever they like. And everybody else has got to pay the price for it, so they feel as though they've got some sense of entitlement, or some sense of they just do what they want. They'll control me into sexual degrading and high sexual humiliation, and if I spit on the floor now, they'll arrest me for it. And that's the hypocrisy of it, that's the silliness of it. That's why they need to start jailing them, and they need to actually start attributing labels or attributing laws to what they're actually doing, because they're getting away with things that realistically are worse than the crimes that they're sentencing people for. As it stands now, my jaw on this is completely wired shut. There's a lot of pressure on my internal organs. They've been relativising sorry all afternoon whilst in the library, relativising sorry. You've spent your power while stripping my life out, and smelly pussy and smelly fanny while stripping out my sex drives. So they've been bombarding me with internal transgressions into the power of my own life. If I said that in society, I'd get jail. If I went and said that to somebody now and they wrote police, I'd get jail for it. So why is it that I'm being bombarded with accusations internally by the system of smelly pussy and smelly fanny that's got nothing to do with my life, and they're stripping out my sex drive? Quality of life worth more than what they are in jail. I've not got anything to do with it. Well, that's according to them. They said to me, we've not had anything to do with you in years, we don't manage you, we've not done anything. You shouldn't be using institutionalisation to have smelly pussy and smelly fanny then while stripping out my sex drives or power of my own life. You've spent your power while stripping out my drive of my own life, becoming in a brain dead state. You're sorry. So critical condition, as well as Irish transgressions as well, which is, as I've said before, I've met people in jail that have got 99 years for the transgressions or direct orders that they're giving internally, or the direct transgressions. 99 years I've met people in jail for, and officers are ripping my power out, relativising it with a magnitude of 1,000 crimes. Every day, critical condition, losing every day of my life. They'll say it's mental illness or whatever. Well, if they wanted to make it stuff like that, they'd have needed more clarification, because they're running off with my life. if they think as officers or as the system that they can just put something in and run off with somebody's life, they need to start labelling what kind of life people have got, because they're wanting to run off with people's lives at their expense, and they're not putting in there the fact it's costing me every day of my life. They're not putting in there the fact they stripped out all my sex drives or sex power. Problem still persists, critical condition, humiliating my power internally. They stripped out a large portion of my life. Problems still continue, critical condition.